Mhm. Let's see this. Oh, let's try this again. Hey, Jessica, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear the audio now. Mhm. Let's try this again. Hey, Jessica, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear the audio now. Go ahead and type something in your response, and I'll see. Hey, if you guys can hear me, make sure you type something in the message in your message feed. Let me know that you can actually hear me live on here. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything in excellence. That's why I stopped the previous video, and I want to do this in excellence. So if you can hear me, you're watching me right now on this live video feed. Just type a message that you can hear the audio is good. Just type in audio is good, or any message that you can let me know that, or thumbs up, or emoji icon, something. Let me know that everything's coming in okay, and I'll move forward with everything. Let's see here. All right. I know it's getting late, y'all, so I'm gonna try to do something real quick. This is a message for all the DJs, and I do have a little bit for the artists, but I'm gonna do the DJs tonight. Apparently, I'm not getting. I'll make sure I'm gonna get some response from you guys who are watching. Make sure everything's coming in okay, and hopefully, every the mess you can be able to hear the message later on. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to hold off anything. So if you missed the video, oh, okay. So it might be your phone. All right. So what we'll do, if you can hear me, just let me know. If you can't hear me, type a message in the whatever you're watching me through YouTube, through Facebook, on both my platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, and I'm also on Twitch and I'm on Mixcloud. So all in the name DJ JesusBeats. Just if you can send me a message, let me know you can hear me. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Okay. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? Kevin Land Forever, what's up? Can you actually hear me? Anybody can hear me right now. I want to make sure that I want to go live, but if not, I'm recording this, so I'll upload it later on. If you can't hear me, but I haven't got a response yet. But anyways, I'm just gonna keep going on, and if you miss it, you miss it. But I'll have an uploaded video later on. But anyways, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for being able to be a part of this, and there's a couple of things I want to thank everybody for the prayers. For I was sick for a good while, and I'm recovering a lot better, feeling much better. So thank you guys for all the prayers, the all the contacts, everybody who reached out to me. Shout out goes to DJ Sean Blue, I Rock Jesus, Dex. Um, let's see. Oh my goodness, DJ Matt Cummins and Ronnie Ron and so many others. Okay, you can hear me now. So anybody else, I thank you guys. It was of course, shout out goes to uh, Dallas Frazier, man. Tony D. Oh, I call him Tony. Big Tony. No, I'm just messing with you. Tony D. Shout out to you, man, and everybody else who's been praying for me. Anthony Bosnick, what's up, man? Listen, I just want to say also to any of the DJs, there are people who are in radio. If you have a radio show, you're a radio show host, you're a podcaster, you're playing music. You see this logo up here in the left side of my screen, but it's on might be on the left side of yours also, or the right side. But you see it says exclusive record pool. Officially, we are welcoming officially welcoming everybody to the record pool. We've been around for about a good 2 or 3 years, but this is the official welcome of the exclusive record pool. We thank all of our clients who've been with us for so through this whole journey and process. People are asking, what is a record pool? The record pool is really a place for DJs, podcasters, radio station people. to be able to get access to music that they have a hard time getting in other places. So, exclusive record pool is the website. It's spelled the same way. Exclusive rp.com is the website, or you can go to XRP record pool. That's XRP recordpool.com. Those are two links. You can go there. You can become a member and then also get access to the music. We have a great relationship with a lot of the labels now and a lot of artists. So just go check it out. See for yourself. Just keep in mind, one thing is that if you're coming from previous record pools or professional record pools like BPM Supreme, and any other like franchise record pool, uh, promo only, or there's a whole list of record pools out there. They don't cover Christian content music like what we are designed to do. God has ordained for us to do. But if you're coming over there, just know that we are always growing. So it's gonna, God has a plan for everything. So don't when you come over, don't expect that you're gonna see all the same bells and whistles and everything that you might come from previous record pools who have been around for a decade or so. With prayer, with the support that we get, God is amazing. All right, just like any new business, it has to grow. So when you come over there, you're going to see a lot of new music. You're going to see a lot of content, and there might be some things that you may, whether you see or whatever. You can use our contact feature. Or you can use our email contact. Um, that's contact at exclusive RP. So that's XCLUSIVE rp.com. Contact at exclusiverp.com is the email that you can reach out to us if you have any questions about anything with the record pool site. If there's some suggestions that you might want to recommend or anything that you might see that we might not see that we might not have for you, we will be able to respond to you in a timely manner and be able to find, whatever you're asking for, we'll be able to help assist you. Okay. So we thank God for this. This is a a blessing that we could not ask for, and we're always humble. We're just humble. I'm not here to talk about and brag about anything. I'm just here to say that we welcome you, those DJs, podcasters, radio show owners, uh, program directors, um, anybody who was involved with the process of entertaining people with music as far as professional sounds and everything like that. Joe, you're a DJ, a mobile DJ, a bedroom DJ. And it's not just, our website was designed for Christian DJs, but it's for every DJ because we have DJs from around the globe who are doing parties, events. Some of you need Christian and gospel music. That is our content in this record pool. There's many multiple different styles and genres that's in there, and we are continuing to keep growing with it. All right. So I want you guys to realize that there's nothing more that needs to be said. If you got any more questions about the record pool, just let me know. So with that all being out the way, let's go into some things. I got some helpful encouragement for my DJs. All right. So I've always talked about the artist a lot, right? So a lot of my videos that many of you have seen, I'm always giving helpful tips to the artists. I'm giving constructive criticism. I haven't done there's a lot of projects I really want to do. And I'm just, when God says that the time is right, I'll bring those big projects out. But for right now, with the help of the exclusive record pool, uh, I'm going to share some tips that I have for the DJs, some helpful information. So the first one, all right. So all my DJs who may be watching, share this with other DJs later on. I know it's like a little bit late tonight, so I'm going to share my helpful. It's like six. I got six helpful things I want to share with the DJs. First and foremost, my DJs, especially my Christian DJs, specifically my Christian DJs. All right. So this is specific for Christian DJs, gospel DJs, but this can be for any DJ who listens to this. All right. So my Christian DJs, I need you to build your music library up. I encourage you to do this. In, in order to be a great DJ, especially a Christian DJ who's going to be using this as ministry, the music is going to be used as a tool. I encourage you to build your library up. What do I mean by build your library? Well, I need you to start getting a lot of music into your personal external hard drives, whatever tools you use to save your music. So I need you to build your library up. And the reason is because I want you to not just be a one-sided DJ. I want you to be the best, well-rounded DJ that you can possibly be in Christian and gospel music. That includes all the genres that cover Christian and gospel. So you can be the best house gospel house DJ or Christian pop. So I want you to build your music library up. And I'll explain where you can get your music from. But here's the places that you can, not places, but here's the categories of how you can acquire music. One is to purchase music from either the artists themselves or purchase from like iTunes or any place that sells those individual singles or the album. I want you to start learning how to purchase music because I know a lot of you are either coming back into DJing or some of you have been seasoned DJs for a long time. But if you are a new and up and coming DJ, I want you to encourage you to learn from what our us past DJs have done. DJs who have been into this profession for well over 20 plus years, anywhere from a decade to 20 plus years or even more or greater. Those are the DJs that is going to teach you that the most important thing that we had to do back in the day, we didn't have the streaming sites to get music from, and we didn't have just the access to go and meet with artists and connect with them on social media like we could do today. We had to go physically to stores, to the record stores, all right, and to the music stores that they used to have back in the day, like Sam Goody or FYE or any like maybe Manifest disc and tapes or some mom and pop store. We had to go get the vinyl records or the cassette tapes or the CDs, and we had to purchase two sets in order for us to be able to mix from track one to track two or deck A to deck B. So it's a lot. I know it's the old school stuff method, but I believe that any DJ today who is coming up to becoming a DJ needs to learn how to do these tools in order for you to be a well established and which leads to a professional DJ. All right, because like I said, we have a position as gospel DJs to use the music as a tool to be used to help uplift, to give praise and honor to God with the music as a Christian DJ or gospel DJ, whatever you want to call yourself. That is the most important part. But you have to learn how to purchase the music. All right, when you're starting out, and even as well established artists, DJs, you still got to learn how to purchase your music. Stop being a cheapskate. All right, if you can't get it from the artist or anybody, purchase the song. The next step is to connect with the artist. So you're gonna have to learn how to build the friendships. You can't be an introvert anymore. Stop hiding behind the walls of social media or in person and start meeting with these artists. Connect with them. There are many social media platforms they're on. So you got to find out where's their go-to social media. Most artists like to use Instagram. Some artists like maybe use the reels for TikTok and some may use Facebook, but you have to use whatever means necessary to contact the artist. And you, as a DJ, need to start building that relationship with the artist. You should not be relying on a lot of people. Now, in the beginning stages, if you're a new up and coming DJ, you might have to use these tools first. But as you grow older and wiser into your skill and craft, you're going to learn that you can build those relationships on your own. So you should be able to stand out just like anybody else. That's what I had to do. The next step is to either join a record pool like Exclusive Record Pool, okay? ExclusiveRP.com. And you can join them and get a membership to get access to some music that you may need just to start yourself off. Now, keep in mind that just record pools are designed to help DJs enhance their to getting at least the latest music that's out there. But don't always rely on thinking that that's going to be the end all be all for you. It is a helpful tool because a lot of you are at events and parties and stuff, and you may need some music on the fly real quick. Exclusive record pool be that go-to place for you to use. So I encourage you to sign up and become a member of Exclusive Record Pool. Try it out for yourself. See what happens when and like I said, I'm not here to be the car salesman to you. I'm a member of it, but I'm also part of it. I enjoy it. It's a passion. Okay. Let's move forward. The next thing. The last thing, most important thing, DJs, please stop ripping the music. All right. You're not a pirate no more. I used to be a pirate way back in the day. Arr! We used to have LimeWire, and we used to have Napster when Napster was was the opening door that shut everything down. My best advice to you: stop ripping from YouTube. YouTube is your worst enemy of that ripping music because the quality of music is trash, and it will expose you when you are broadcasting live in real person at an event because the quality will start to expose you. So if you're ripping a song that was uploaded on YouTube 13 years ago, just imagine how that sound quality was because YouTube compresses the music file. So even if you're trying to download the highest quality, it is still at a low quality, and you do not want to be there. So I know some people may disagree with me on this, and like I said, I was one of those DJs back in the day doing that. But then I realized that in order for me to be the best at my craft, I had to learn how to save my money like I was doing back in the day when I had them milk crate cartons and buying vinyl records out the music store, two copies. And that was like $15 a piece for two full album vinyl records, or sometimes depends on the sale that you can get from the record store owner. So you just have to pirating it's not good. It's not good, and it hurts the artist too. And that's why I have become a strong advocate for the artists. Artists are getting shortchanged right now on the streaming sites, so artists they have to really, they really need our help as even as DJs. So if you can sow a seed into their projects, and just get the just the latest single or quality, it will help out. All right, so just don't rip music anymore. I know it's rough, but in the long run, it's going to pay off when you actually do purchase the right music. All right, the next thing, DJs. Besides acquiring new music, all right, the question I have for you: are you constantly playing older music to your audience for familiarity? The question is, besides acquiring and getting the new music that keeps coming out either every Friday or every 2 weeks or every quarter, or whatever you're getting, are you constantly playing older music to your audience for them to be familiar with the songs that you're playing? Remember this. I know like a lot of DJs, I hear this all the time in the forums and the DJ forums, and not just Christian DJs, but all DJs. They're always looking for new music, new music, new music. And that's cool. New music is always great. But especially in gospel and Christian hip hop and Christian R&B and B and Christian pop music, I got news for y'all, especially in Christian hip hop. These new songs that these artists be dropping, nobody really is not paying attention to them because the marketability of the songs is not great. Because in all genres, in gospel, it is a politics when it comes to what music gets played on gospel radio. So if you're an independent gospel artist, it is a hard time for you to get your music on there because there's politics involved. Christian hip hop is about as bad because number one, the music is rap, and a lot of people don't have issues with rap. Older generation people who do control the scene. So a lot of Christian rappers don't like to use internet radio stations because they think that we are not effective for people to hear their music, even though we are the most effective in constantly keeping your song in some type of rotation. You may think that you might want, oh, well, they don't track my music. Well, listen, I don't care if we're not tracking your music, but at least if somebody's playing you consistently a little enough to know that the audience is listening to your song, so they can be more familiar with your song, so that they can know how to say the hook of your song. So when you go up on stage, you don't look like a cornball always trying to have to reintroduce people to tell them how to say your hook of your song, or when I say this, you say that. That's old school stuff. People should know exactly how to say your song. So when you go and do a tour, you don't have to worry about trying to instruct them all the time, like some gym instructor or some gym coach trying to give them a chant for them, so they can repeat it. And you know how and let's be real, the worst audience and the hardest audience to entertain is people like me right here. Not DJ JesusBeats, but the skin tone, black people. Black folks are the hardest people to entertain because we will sit there and be looking at you like with the white chair in our hands ready to bop you upside the head like we were at the Montgomery uh, Bloody Saturday, August 5th. So my advice is that you have to work with everybody, work with the internet radio stations, work with the radio shows that's constantly promoting themselves weekly. There's different radio shows out there that you can connect with. There's podcasters who may need a song to play from you. So reach out to every entity. Do not look at somebody as they have to have clout, because you're going to mess yourself up. All right. So, because one day of playing somebody on a major radio station will probably play you only one time if the DJ is on there, and you will never be heard there. Your song will never be heard on that major radio station again unless the DJ brings it back into a rotation. But internet radio will always play your music if it's a great song. They'll keep it in rotation. You don't have to worry about the politics of radio because they're going to be welcoming arms to you. All right. So, it's like like back in the day when artists had to use a demo tape to reach out to everybody to do that. All right. So that's just I know it's a lot to take in, but I'm just giving you this information for DJs. DJs, I want y'all to constantly, play older music. Get your audience to be familiar with what you're playing. Let them know the name of the song that you're playing, the artist. Let them know if it's a Dietrich Haddon, if it's a Derek Minor, or if it's a Flame, or if it's Mike Teasy, or it could be Scooty Wop, or whoever is familiar with you, Jay Monty, or the names I can drop right now can go on, but it doesn't matter if it's Bria Miles or Mahogany Jones or Canton Jones or Canton Spirituals. It doesn't matter. Whoever you're playing. All right. The next helpful thing for my DJs is DJs. I need you to stop DJing or winning approval from other DJs. I need you to stop DJing for or winning approval from other DJs. All right. Your audience, your personal audience is the most important people that you need to entertain first. I know a lot of DJs who will do their mixes and everything, and they will try to get approval they'll put it in other DJ forums. It's got so bad now, I can't even get nobody to go over to Mixcloud to watch my stuff because, Mixcloud has become a forum for DJs, like DJs just watching other DJs mix. And I don't want it to be that way. I like my audience is all of you who are away from the DJ world and people who are just enjoying what I can do. And that's my only thing I can bring to you is my personality mixed with my skill and my craft and as far as what I do as a DJ. And I want you to be able to, when I'm mixing music, whether it's on Friday nights, whether it's on Praise 102.5 Atlanta, when we do the holiday mixes, or any other place you might hear me mixing, I want it to be where I'm taking you on a ride. I'm taking you on a little journey, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever, how long I'm mixing. I want you to be able to, if you're driving your car, I want you to intentionally crash your car and get in an accident without life-threatening issues, injuries or anything, because I want you to blame it on these. But I don't really want you to crash your car. But I'm just like, my thing is I want you to enjoy hearing the music that I'm featuring for you, the music that I'm playing, the music that will take you on a journey, but it also will give you a praise effect. That just like people who hear praise and worship in the church service, my thing is to get you just bobbing your head and dancing. But every song that I'm playing is uplifting the name of Jesus Christ. And I want you to be able to have that passion, whether it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock when I'm going live on the air and you're going home and you're stuck in that Atlanta 285 traffic, or you're stuck on Highway 278 going into from out of Hilton Head to Bluffton back to Beaufort, or you're going wherever you're at, you're listening on, wherever you're listening on. So that's what I want. So DJs, stop DJing for other DJs, please. Y'all don't need to worry about what other DJs. Now you can use other DJs to critique your mix and see what you maybe need some improvements on. But you should never do your mixing or mixing music to appease other DJs because we all have our own critiques ourselves. So, and sometimes we can be critical of other DJs. So my thing is I enjoy listening to other DJs mixes. I just listened to DJ Matt Cummins mix. I was really enjoyed by it. I've been listening to Sean Blue, I Rock Jesus, I've heard Dex, Mr. Watkins. I mean, the list goes on and on of DJs whose mixes I've heard, from Titus to um, let's see, DJ Titus to there's so many. I can't. It's too many. And I miss Sacred Apparel mixtapes. I miss Sacred Apparel mixtapes. We used to have a whole busload of. They used to have a whole busload of DJ mixes I used to listen to, mixtapes, everything. Yes, I-65. You're southbound on going to Nashville, out of Nashville, Murfreesboro, whatever you're going at 64. All right. The next one. Next for DJs. Please, DJs, I need you to stop complaining in the public's eye about everything. Stop complaining. All right. I sometimes I don't think y'all realize that we are watching. A lot of us are watching. A lot of people are watching you. They watch you, what you say and what you do and how you carry yourself. So stop complaining about things that, even about complaining about the DJ aspect of things. You got to be careful what you complain about. Don't become the angry DJ all the time. Stop complaining about everything and you don't have nothing great and constructive to say. So stop complaining, especially in the public side. People are watching you and you don't want to be that person that gets labeled the angry DJ. Everything comes out your mouth got to be negative about something. Like how DJs are they don't back in in my day turntables and this and you're pushing the sync button. Nobody doesn't care about all that stuff. Listen, I push the sync button all day, and I will use the sync button to the end of my life. Everything on my controller. I got a DDJ SX2. I still have my old school Newmark NS7, the original Newmark NS7, the first motorized turntable controller, which is heavy as a brick, 75 pounds, 55 pounds of all nothing but metal with rubberized buttons. So that's what I haven't really used the Newmark NS7 because I think it's not compatible with certain things, but I use my DDJ SX2. I have a Starlight little baby controller, Newmark. I think it's not Newmark. I think it's like I forgot who it's from, but it's a Starlight, small $70-$80 controller that I've used in small occasions and events. It to me, it's I have a sync button, I have a sensor button, I have every button that's on there. I have a slip button that I never use, but every button that's on my SX2, my DDJ Pioneer DDJ SX2, I've pushed it. Dang it, if I paid $1,000 for that back almost 7 years ago, you don't think I'm not going to still push every button? I will gladly push the sync button to move everything up. But do I know how to sync music without using the sync button? Yes, because I used to use turntables and I've never used CDJs like the way they were used for, but I did play around with a little bit of it. So I went from, pretty much turntables right into a controller. My first controller was a Hercules, a little baby Hercules, and then I had a Hercules RMX2, which was my it was all metal too. That was a metal with the jog wheel, and that was my bad boy when I was on here in Beaufort on at the time it used to be called Victory 1490 WVGB, legendary gospel station here. So, but WVGB is still around, but it's Praise 94.5. But when I was at the original station on Munson Street, it was the RMX2, Hercules RMX2. Doing all my mixes on that mixtape. My first mixtape came from that, and then of course I've been upgraded to the NS7 and so forth. Right now, I haven't bought any new DJ equipment in well over about 8 years now. So, but I'm still using what I got. And I got influenced to get that from Mr. Watkins. Mr. Watkins had a DDJ SX, the first original one. So I got the SX2 because they were discontinuing the first one version of it. So just don't complain, man. Move in silence and be professional at all times, DJs. That's the most important thing. Just move in silence. You don't have to complain about a lot of stuff. All right. The next tip, DJs. There's no need to buy new DJ hardware or gear unless it is for the sole purpose of improving your sound, appearance, and skill. So I know a lot of DJs talk about, they want to get the new stuff, they want to get the new equipment. That's cool. There are DJs that learn new things. For me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. That's what I believe. I encourage DJs that you should master the craft of your current equipment. You should learn every button, every bell, every whistle, every jog wheel, every motorized turntable, platter, whatever you're using, your mixer, whatever you purchase within well over 10 years, you should be a master of the craft of using that equipment. But at the same time, I don't want you to get so complacent thinking that you got to buy new DJ gear in order to stay relevant. Those DJs who do that are the ones who sound trash when they go on live events because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. But if you're a DJ who's learning the new equipment, you're studying the new equipment, you get to play with it, test it out. If you go to a guitar center or a local music store that has a lot of the new DJ gear in there where you're able to test it out, do that. You know, if you can go to the DJ conferences and where they have all the products out there and test it out, you're well way ahead of the curve when it comes to learning new DJ equipment. But for all of us, but the encouragement right now for all DJs is work with what you have. All right. Just because there's a new DJ software coming out or new hardware does not mean that you got to go jump on it right away. Sometimes you need to wait for the bugs and the kinks to come out because they have a firmware that they come out with, the original firmware, and then what they use is what they call beta testers. So the DJs who purchase the gear will be the beta testers for the product that's already out. And so with those firmware updates is based upon what the DJs who spent their hard-earned money trying it out and trial and tribulation with Serato, and you know that stuff fails, and they get embarrassed when they try to do it in live events because they ain't doing it in the bedroom, as testing out at home, as opposed to going out and doing some live event and getting embarrassed in the club because your DJ hardware and software don't talk to each other. So, you know, just wait until the new gear goes through a phase, maybe a year. Sometimes you might have to wait 6 months to a year before they work out at least the first heavy set of bugs in the DJ hardware or software. So, you know, just be patient. Okay. So there's no need to, unless you're improving your speakers, your sounds, do some research, always find out what you can, you know, talk with the musicians, like musician friends. You can contact the company. You can watch YouTube videos on those DJs who pretty much have those live videos or those videos where they're testing out the products. So you can find a lot of information on YouTube about the product that you might want to get. So just do that research first before you start going and say, I'm gonna go get this new DJ gear because you might be spending, you know, of course, you know, DJ gear now today, even the most professional you know, like not turntable, but just the DJ gear, like as far as like a controller aspect is ranging anywhere from $1,500 all the way up, you know, at least about $2,000 now. And there's a new uh, turntable platter that's kind of like built into one. You know, it's like a motorized, but it can be a hybrid, and that Joker is going for almost $2,000. So, you know, you're gonna have to save your money up for those things. All right, and last but not least, DJs, support what's up? What's up, Mary? DJs, I need you to support other DJs. Support the other DJs. Build friendships beyond the music. Prayer and discipleship is a very important thing. And this goes for the artists too. One thing that's lacking right now in the body of Christ with our young people and even our seasoned people like myself, you know, where I'm at the uncle phase level. You're old when people start calling you Unc. So I'm at the uncle level. I I never looked at myself as an uncle, but now I am. So, and I'm not really an uncle in real life, but I have a lot of younger people who are now calling me Unc because they see that the wisdom or things I'm showing them. But I'm at that level now where I'm encouraging all of us, brothers and sisters, to reach out to one another, whether you're artists or DJs, radio pocket, it doesn't matter. No matter what your level of success is, in the body of Christ, we need a lot of discipleship. We have a lot of young people and young generation of people who are coming into this profession of ministry through music as a tool, and we are not giving discipleship. And we are seeing a big disconnect to why we're seeing a lot of things that's happening where our younger generation of Christian rappers automatically don't feel like they have to minister the gospel. They feel like they don't have to go to church. They feel like they can just watch a YouTube video and be churched out from that. But they don't want to have no relationship with anybody. They don't want to have somebody as an authoritarian over them to teach them, to guide them, to give them tough love, to pray for them, to be a great listener to them, to listen to their testimony, their personal life and their personal stories, so that we can be able to be disciples to them and encourage them that, no, brother, you don't need to get involved with that type of relationship. You don't need to do this in order to be popular. You don't need to be chasing the bag. You don't need to be chasing after an award, or you need to be chasing after this. But I want you to chase after God. I want you to, that song that we heard, I'm chasing after you. That's a song that's talking about I'm chasing after Jesus. And I need you more and more, because in this real world today, this real world is it continues to get worse, and it's continuing to get more demonic. And there's a lot of things that's out there. It's always been out there way before we was even born. But now with the technology, with everything that's involved, we are seeing a lot of things that our young people have never been able to they should be experiencing at a young, ripe age right now, but they are. And there's no discipleship like we used to see back when I started getting involved in 2006, late 2006, when I used to go and the brothers would have a sit down and we'd go over the Bible. We'll go over a little small scripture. We'll talk about life things. We'll talk about God. Brothers were so bold to talk about things when we was in IHOP and Waffle House. And these were young brothers and sisters, and we're having this conversation about God. And I remember sitting at a table as a young babe in Christ and watching people who are older than us who are having a meal, and they were watching all of us, these young 20, late 20s, early 30s, and some of the teens in there. And we're all having a Bible study conversation in the Waffle House. And people are like, whoa, I never had that conversation. We're used to seeing people coming, these young people coming here drunk, or they're all horny. They want to go smash a girl. They talking about drugs. They talking about playing all the raunchy music. And here it was Christian artists, Christian men and women who were bold and unashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ to even witness in front of people. I remember older, and we live in the Bible Belt, and Bible Belt people were so shocked and astonished to see, especially black brothers and sisters sitting at the table, because they're used to seeing us. Oh, they're up to no good. But in that case, during those years, we were, it was one of the most rewarding things that I got the chance to see, because I challenged God that I thought that these things didn't exist. You go in your average typical church, no matter what denomination they are, here in, just in most American cities, and the age group, the age bracket that's missing from the church is in between the mid to the late 30s, are missing out the church. And it's a big generational gap, because those age people are at that age, they feel like they don't need the church. They're out there doing whatever they want to do. They've got, some of them are dealing with church hurt, some of them are dealing with bad experiences of the church, and they're relying on the world to teach them things about God, where you can fellowship in the church. So these are things that I'm praying for with all of us, like with DJs, with radio people, anybody, to encourage build those friendships. I've never seen so many, the enemy attacking young people when it comes to their marriage. How many divorces we're seeing left and right. One moment I've seen a Christian artist or whoever they are, whatever their title is, and they're posting up things with their family and their wife and their spouse or their husband, and then 6 months later they're posting selfies of themselves, not even including the partner that they were married to anymore. And then, like, the ring is off. Like, this ring was, at one, when you used to see the photos, you see they held the wedding ring and all that stuff. And then 6 months later, they're taking photos and there ain't no ring on in the hand. And then their marital status is hidden. A lot of things are hidden. They're just taking pictures with the kids. And then you find out that they're going through a divorce. And these are people that's getting on the pulpit, and they're ministers of music. They're pastors, they're youth pastors, and they're going through a phase in their life where they're no longer happy in a marriage. But they're getting on the stage and they're performing, and they're presenting this melancholy that they have a perfect life, but deep down inside, after they get off that stage, they go home, they gotta face reality, but there's nobody there to talk to them. And there's no discipleship. There's no brothers or sisters there to say, hey, look, let's talk about this. Let's find encouragement for you. Let's find out how we can help your marriage. Let's find out how we can help, get you the right counseling for your marriage. Or some of them are dealing with alcoholism. You know how many alcoholics are in the church body now? And they're making excuses for that. You know how many people I've never had a debate with anybody, but I just watch from a distance. And how many brothers and sisters my age? I'm 45. Lord willing, on Monday I'll be 46. But I've seen them where they're now drinking wine. They first started off as Christians, not even attempting to be tempted by alcohol, and now they're going to the bars and they're taking photos, selfies. You're at a restaurant, a public restaurant, and you're a minister of music, you're a minister, you're a pastor or somebody, and you go on a glass of mimosas, or you're drinking wine, you're showing it right there in the public's eye. Now, you're not going to hell for what you're doing, but it makes for a bad testimony when you're trying to preach to profess the gospel of Jesus Christ, and you got people who are struggling with alcohol who are going to AA right now, and they're seeing you, and it's like that is the worst testimony. Yeah, I'm trying to get out of the situation, and you're professing, showing that it's okay to drink. And then you make the excuse. You let the enemy has whooped y'all behinds, and you're like, when you're making excuses, oh, well, I'm just a casual drinker. There's no such thing as a casual drinker. You're drinking for a reason. You're drinking because you're trying to get away from the pain. You're trying to get away from something. You don't need a natural. You're not using a natural high. You're using a high to get over something. People who drink are not drinking socially. You're drinking because you're drinking away something that has been bothering you in your mind. All right. And whether you're tipsy or whether you're just a little bit, it's still the same thing. Then some of you are driving while you've been drinking. That don't make sense either. You're teaching your children not to do stuff, but you're doing the same stuff that you try to tell your children. Now, like I said, you can get mad with me all you want on this. I'm not doing this to point no fingers. I'm saying this because this is what I'm talking about right here, that we have to have discipleship. We need people to hold us accountable. I'm always thankful that God is putting people in my life to hold me accountable. And now that I have my deacons involved in my church, and, reaching out to them, and now they have my number, they can reach out to me. I have another young brother in the church with me, and we're holding each other accountable now. I have ministers, I have and some other brothers in Christ that now I can reach out to, and we hold each other accountable. They hold me accountable. I am open book to having somebody correct me of my mistakes. Correct me. All right. I might, even in some cases, I might not want to hear it, but I will thank them for being, at least somebody showing me tough love. My dad still does it. I'm 45 years old. I still got my father still being my behind, my mom and dad. So I'm a 45-year-old grown man, but I still get the butt chewing from my parents too. So I'm willing, if I can take it from them, I can take it from anybody else. But I'm looking for that. That's why I want y'all to start building your relationships with anybody. Don't just be somebody who's secluded to your own self. If you have to get on the phone and call somebody, and don't be afraid. Texting, y'all need to stop this texting also. Texting is the laziest form of communication. I remember before texting was even involved, we used to use emails. Y'all remember when we used to email everybody on AOL and American Online, if you ever used that. Remember we used to use the Yahoo email back in the way back before it was get into the chat rooms. Before we had chat rooms, we had email. You had to email somebody on Outlook. You had to email somebody, and we used to type these long. And way before that, you had to write a letter to somebody. You had to write a love letter or something. You had to put it in the mailbox and wait 2 or 3 days before they got it, and then you had to wait for them to return it back to you. See, I'm old school like that. Then I remember we used to get on the phone. I'm a dial-up. Like that's just like Anthony says, I'm a dial-up person. I like to talk to you because I want to hear your emotions. I don't want to have to read a long text. Texting to me is like the most laziest form. Now, if you need a text because we're busy, that's okay. But if you can pick up the phone and just talk to somebody, sometimes you got to be able to hear the actual response from the person, because texting does not, even though you got emoji cons and stuff like that, those emoji cons are just false narratives that we have gotten so lazy. You know, you put emoji cons to say that you're sad, but you don't. But hearing the person's voice, being able to hear what they're saying is a better response. God can give you the better response because sometimes in texting we can get the language all mixed up, and we can get the translation all mixed up. You know, so that's why I like old school methods. Pick up the phone, let's talk a little bit. If you got the time, if you don't, I understand. But I'm old school. I like to talk and and hear the person, listen to them, and be able to hear their response. Because God will allow me to use anointing on me to be able to give the best response, through Him. Not through my personal opinion and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yep, you can get a lot of conversation screwed up with texting. Believe me, I've misinterpreted a lot of responses from people's text messages, and it could be the simplest response, but then it's like, well, did they really mean what they really mean? Sometimes I've interpreted a text when somebody all caps me a text message back that they're shouting at me, and then I'm on the phone like, what the heck's wrong with you? And they're like, oh no, I was just typing. Oh, you just and then all caps features that came on, so they weren't really mad. It was just that they just text message because they're, sometimes you're using an Android or iPhone. It likes to autocorrect, and even autocorrect is even worse when it messes you up. So I'm old school. Yeah, text message is hurting a lot of relationships. You should not be breaking up with somebody over a text message. You should not be arguing with somebody over a text message. Pick up the phone and let's talk. But like I said, prayer, DJs, everybody, prayer. Prayer is the most powerful thing too. So, that's why I say pick up the phone. We can pray with each other. We can encourage one another. We can just be a great listener. Sometimes I like to be a great listener just to hear what somebody's dealing with. Because a lot of times, the people, for a lot of the friends that's on here, I got like almost close to 5,000 people, friends that's on Facebook alone. And a lot of you that I have connected with, you know, over the phone, I've learned so much. Yet this morning, and a lot of times, hearing somebody's voice actually is a suit. It's like the recipe for soothing the soul, soothing you yourself. Um, because there's a lot of us who have friends on here. I think out of the 4,900 something friends, almost close to about maybe 200 to 300 of the friends right now are deceased. People that I personally have met, and people have, that I've been friends with over the years, but we communicated a little bit, and a lot of them are deceased, and we still, have their profiles. And today, another mentor, for what I do in my job with involving elections, he's a mentor. He actually trained myself and another young guy during the time in 2014 when we had to learn how to what's called build elections for our county because my supervisor at the time back in 2013 died instantly in his home, and he took a lot of knowledge with him. So we had to learn how to use the system in order to create elections. So we had to go through the state election commission up in Columbia, and his name was Shaq Abrams, and Shaq was this little short black man that had so much knowledge and so much wisdom. And Shaq used to eat nothing but ice cubes and stuff. I mean, he would get a cup and he put all the ice cubes in there that they had in their little common area, and Shaq be sucking on and eating ice cubes and training us on nope, nope, you gotta do it this way. Yep, we you okay, you're missing this part in the database. You're missing all this. So he was a great teacher, and but at the same time, we learned so much. I learned so much from him because he would talk to me about his personal life and how he loved his dogs and the things that he was dealing with. He was dealing with rheumatoid arthritis, and he would talk to me about all those things. And but he was a great teacher, even though he has he wasn't flawless. He had flaws of his own, but and I used to always fuss with Shaq, like, why you always smoking, man? Leave those cigarettes alone. You old. He smelled like ODB or something. But we would laugh and we would joke and we have conversations. He would tell me about his life and his children. And but this morning, I found out like yesterday he had like a massive heart attack, and he was pretty much they had to move him into hospice. And this morning got the call. that he had, he took his last breath this morning. And it's not an easy thing to deal with because Shaq was like the guy that he pretty much was gone from the election commission for many years. So a lot of the people that know him, most of them are have retired and moved on from the job field and elections and stuff. But we all got notified and yeah, it's just it's a sorry thing, but I'm not super heartbroken, but am praying for one of my good friends, James Posey. James, love you, brother, man. You've been going through a lot too, and he was your mentor up there at the state election commission. So people like Miss Wanda and um, Cheryl and everybody that we knew when I was coming into the elections back in 2006 all the way. Even we lost Gary Baum. Gary was another guy that taught a lot of us too. So, we some of these people have moved on and passed on. Miss Liz was the lady that used to call up at the state election commission. She was there. I think she was in there since she was the oldest traditionalist that worked at the state election commission. That lady knew everything, and she would you would get on the phone and she would direct you to anybody, and she got called home too. She was, I think, I forget how old she was. I think she was in the 90s. But we just praying for his family and everybody else. But I say that, even though it was outside of the music, but I say that because I cherish relationships and I cherish friendships. That's just me. Um, so if I've been a friend to you, if I've ever met you, and if I ever talked to you on the phone, don't ever think that that I just, only talk to you for anything else. Most of you know that if I call you, I'm always calling to check up on you. I'm always trying to see if you're doing okay, your family's okay. I'm most times other than a few of us, I might talk about music. We might go into music a lot, especially like me and Josh on here and I Rock Jesus and let's see who else. Like Dex. I'll be on the phone with Dex. I've been on the phone with Blue the other day, and we just catch up. We just kind of catch up on life. I ask about my family. I ask about theirs, and it's just a rewarding thing, especially when you like Sean Blue, for example, like his how his daughter's going to college. Matter of fact, she's going to college already, and I'm just impressed with that because she's going to Savannah State. And then you have like other people who are just, like I Rock Jesus is just really a humbling experience because when he lost his wife, me and him talked that whole night. And then when his dad got called home and I think we was on the phone and God just used something for you to say and I made him laugh and I think that was the most joyous occasion. You can make somebody laugh in the heat of despair and at your lowest of low. So, and I just want y'all to do the same thing. Just reach out to somebody, encourage somebody. We don't know what somebody's going through until you pick up that phone and you start talking to them or the things that they might share. And a lot of us are going through some personal things. Even when you're going through a storm, there's always a reward at the end of it. For me, my boys, my wife is just like, I'm just so humbled by my wife because she's a fighter. She survived breast cancer back in 2020. That was a tough battle. 2020 was the year that will go down in history as when breast cancer came from my wife, and my wife was not a fighter. And at the end of the session to 2021, cancer was beat down. I think my wife used the white chair in the Montgomery fight in advance to beat down cancer. And I'm praying for like even Demita Chandler. I think she used to be Demita Haddon. Demita's been going through a cancer battle, but she's been improving and so many people who are going through fighting off cancer, people who are going through financial woes and stuff. I've seen some of y'all who've been going through some tough times and through social media. I think even if you didn't air your whole personal business out there, but God has used me just to watch you from a distance and pray. And I've seen some of you go through some tough trials and tribulations without even having a conversation with you. And I just became, that praying uncle, that praying, like you got a praying grandmother, there's a praying uncle in me to pray for y'all because I don't know what y'all are going through. And sometimes, I don't want to be nobody else's business. It's not my right to know everything about you as far as your personal life and your personal business unless you share it. You confide with me, it's confided with me, and that's as far as it goes. But just the mere fact that some of you are going through some tough things and you're going through, whether it's your children, whether it's your, no matter whatever the situation is. And I just pray and I ask God to just watch over some of you. Some of you were in the hospital just like I was. And I was praying for them even when I was praying for my own self. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So beyond the music of what I do, I'm always trying to make sure that God is using me in the right way. And I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every single day. My coworkers know me more than I know myself. Oh, my coworkers will not let that go. We had a seminar, like a little workshop. I think it was like last week or the week before last, and I gave this long introduction to it. And Mr. Window knows about it, but they will not let it go. And but it's funny to me. I love it. I love it because they're like family to me. My work, everybody at my job is like family to me, and I know every last one of them. And they're like my aunties, like a mother, like sisters, and brothers. So and like Windows, like the big uncle. He's like my uncle to me. So I thank them at the voter registration office. I've been with them for almost 16 years, and it's a humbling experience when you have a work family that everybody cares. We pray for each other. We're encouraging one another. This is why I'm so humble. This is why I'm able to do a lot of things because I put God first, and I want y'all to. I'm just sharing this with y'all. Outside the tips, that this is how God is so amazing, even in the midst of turmoil and pain, how God has used me in ways that where I was struggling financially. I was struggling to figure out where my life was going to be, where it was going to go. And the worst part, when you don't have money in your pocket, when you got $20 to your name and you try to stretch it out for a week before you get paid, because every time you get paid, there's a bill that needs to be paid. And I tried to apply for other jobs. I tried to do everything. And God was saying no. And then when I just gave up and surrendered to God, the doors that opened up, it was, it was like I had to tell God to stop. Can I can I find the door I didn't go through first? I had many mansions of doors to go through, and it was so many opportunities. And my experience is going to be different from yours. Your experience might be you might have to go through the muck and mire even more deeper than I went through. But don't give up on what you're doing, and be an encouragement to somebody, even when you are. God is always good, even when you are at your lowest of low. You have to remember that. God is not good. What's up, Anthony? God is not always good when you're getting your paycheck. God is not just good when you get your new car. God is not good when you get good things. Yes, God is good at that time, but I say God is great at the time when you are at your lowest of low, when you're in the hospital on your deathbed, when you are financially trying to find out when you're going to get your next meal, when you are trying to figure out how you're going to get that rent paid, when you are figuring out how you're going to have a relationship with God, when you are at a point where you want to curse God out because your loved one or your family member or somebody that you care for has died, and you are at your lowest of low and you feel like God is to blame. God is good. When you are questioning whether God is real, that when you questioning, am I doing this for a ritual? And you start questioning other things that, well, is this a man-made religion? Is there more books in the Bible? Is there's a lot of tangents we can go on with that, but I'm just going to tell you on that. But at the end of the day, my encouragement to every last one of you is to build relationships with everybody, with people that you can call on and talk to. Refrain from all the worldly stuff that's out there. Refrain from it. You don't need to drink alcohol. You don't. You don't need it. Get rid of it. If you got alcohol in your house, wine, whatever, throw it out. You don't need wine to be social. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is rage. Now, like I said, that's just my personal encouragement to you. If you choose to do it, I'm not here to put personal judgment on you. You have to make that choice for yourself. For me personally, When I see brothers in the faith that kind of respected over the years, drinking alcohol and smoking cigars and smoking weed, you have become a bad testimony to me. And so I really don't have. It's not that I don't have no respect for you. I just don't take you seriously when it comes to your walk. So I still will love you unconditionally. I still will always love you unconditionally. But I have to treat you like a tax collector. I got to treat you like anything that you telling me about the word of God is pretty much irrelevant to me. Now we can always talk about how great God is, but if you're trying to preach to me, you trying to profess the gospel to me, or tell me, something in the Bible and stuff, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other because you're a bad testimony. You're a bad testimony, and I don't want that to be displayed towards anybody else. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to treat you like dirt or anything like that. It just means that I just can't take you seriously when it comes to the word of God until God has to clean you up. You have to clean yourself up from that stuff because alcohol is dangerous. I've seen the effects of what it does to people. Never drink alcohol and never smoke. And then I was in the worst environments for it. And I refused it. I don't have no tattoos. I don't need no tattoos. I don't need to mark my body up to. But like I said, all these things I'm telling you, it's irrelevant to say to you that you're going to help. No, if you choose to get it, that's on you. That's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to pass the harsh judgment on you, and I'm not here to talk bad about you, even if you have it. But even if you drink or whatever, like I said, it's just that if you're in a position where you are trying to be a minister, you're a pastor and stuff, that's when it becomes a bad testimony to me. But if you're somebody who's just normal, you've been doing it for all your life, I'm still going to be an encouragement to you. I'm always still going to, just be a beacon of light. I don't really have to say too much to you. I don't have to beat you down with anything and say, "Oh, you're wrong. You're going." No, I don't do all that stuff. I'm still going to have a conversation. We still going to laugh. I'm still going to joke with you. We still going to have fun. We still going to be friends and everything like that. I don't never look at somebody and put them down because I remember when I was a man whore and I was bad back in the day. So I just didn't go. I didn't have that route going like that. So those are things that that's about me. So, but I'm just giving y'all encouragement and just reach out to somebody because some people we need it. We need laughter. Somebody needs to laugh tonight. And if you want some laughter tonight, well, I'll tell you like this: that whole thing that went down in Montgomery was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And people say, well, I don't condone violence. No, no, yeah, I don't condone violence either. But that was the best retaliation I've ever seen in my life. Oh, you're a Christian. You can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Hey, listen, just Marvin Sapp got a song talk about teach my hands to war. Because praise is a weapon. And I'm gonna praise with the left, I'm praise with the right, and I'm gonna get the folding chair and oh man, the Michael Phelps swam. That young 16-year-old swam, jumped off the riverboat. The Harriet, I think what they call the Harriet 2. He jumped off the Harriet 2 and swam almost about it gotta be almost 800 yards through water, 500 yards of water. And I was so proud because I'd never seen black person swim like that. I don't even know. I know how to survival float. I don't know how to swim. And I was proud. And the amount of what people don't realize about what happened in Montgomery, you got to go back through your history. And if you learn your history, you'll learn that Montgomery was not just only the new setup for what we call Bloody Saturday, August the 5th. Montgomery was also the birthplace of the Montgomery bus boycotts that lasted a year and 2 months. And J. Michael Phelps. And during that time, when Dr. Martin Luther King orchestrated the Montgomery bus boycott, it was the most effective protest in American history because what it did was it affected them through the pockets. When you wanna make a statement, all these protests is Black Lives Matter and no justice, no peace, and all these other marches and stuff. The reason why they've never been effective like that because nobody because when you're just marching and running your mouth, you're not making any sense. See, if you hurt them where it hurts the most in the wallet, when you hurt the businesses, it got so bad that blacks were not riding the bus. And then the taxi cabs thought that they can benefit from it. The white owners of the taxi cab companies were trying to take advantage and say, hey, look, we can now use this advantage to give the blacks a ride. But what they little did they know, because the taxi cab drivers were on the same side as the buses, they said no. The blacks in Montgomery said we are not going to ride the taxi cabs because they were making demands, they were making threats, and then it got to the point where the black people in Montgomery join together as a whole community. You know, like they said that Jason Alden song, try that in a small town. Well, the Montgomery Bus Corporation and the tax cab drivers messed around and found out. So they tried that in a small town, in a small city, that where the whole city came together. So they were carpool, the maids, the construction workers, everybody was carpooling and they would take their money's resource. The black people were putting the money back into their own communities. They only shopped at black shops. See, it was deeper than what people thought it was. The bus system, hurt financially, but what hurt was the businesses also because black people weren't going to the restaurants. They weren't going to the diners. They weren't going to the back to the kitchen to go get food. They were cooking their own meals for everybody. The whole community came together. So what you saw on August the 5th in Montgomery, that was we call it a comedy show. But we saw that these black people uniting, that is the generations that have spawned from the Montgomery bus boycott that shows you that Montgomery people stick together. That's why you saw what you saw because it couldn't happen in Chicago, it wouldn't happen in Atlanta, and it definitely wouldn't happen in other major cities because our people are so divided in those areas. But because of what happened in Montgomery almost 5 to 6 decades ago, has been effective in the city. That's why they were all coming together. That's why them jokers were coming off the boat and they were skipping because they had had enough. That's the new generation. So I'm not advocating for beating up white people. This is not a race war talk or we're better than anybody else because I don't believe this was about the racial ish aspect. This was just dumb people who decided that they were not going to move their boat and they got mad with the co-captain, whether they knew he was a co-captain or not, and they wanted to retaliate against him. I don't believe that they were just looking at beating him because he was a black man, because anybody in who knows about Montgomery, 60% of the population in Montgomery is black. 20% of it is white, which means that everybody in the town gets along. They get along in the city. They're not always, there is racism everywhere, right? But it's not like it's what we think it is. So, it's just like going to Atlanta. The inner city of Atlanta is predominantly black. Savannah, Georgia. You go to Savannah, it's predominantly black. Augusta, Georgia, predominantly black on one major side. Macon, Georgia, predominantly black. So Albany, Georgia, yeah, predominantly black. So a lot of the cities in Georgia, the major cities are predominantly black. And but with everything, there's always going to be tensions. But I don't believe that this was like the race war. It just happened to be that the assailants that hit this man were white, and just like anybody else, no matter who it was, if it was white, if it could have been Asian, they were going to come out there and beat that behind, and they did what they were supposed to do. That's what I believe. They're probably drunk and they were, because I don't have the whole story about all that, but they used the privilege of thinking that they didn't have to move their boat, And when I first saw that video, I thought it was in Savannah. I was like, man, dude, man, I didn't know Savannah was getting down like that. I thought it was Savannah or Charleston. I didn't know they had river boats in Montgomery. That does not. I thought it was Mobile or something. But at the end of the day, I was very proud of what had transpired. That nobody was just holding their video cameras up like this, recording. except for the ones that did record. But I'm talking about everybody wasn't just holding video cameras up. They came to the aid and defense of that co-captain of the Harriet II riverboat when he was doing his job, and they decided they want to attack him. And like I said, everybody else, it was time. It was time. People have had enough. This is the thing that people are afraid of nowadays. So that Jason Alden song, y'all might say was racist. No, Jason Alden song is not racist to me. It ain't racist. The music video is suspect because he had to take a lot of that stuff out because that was, that's not really his official song. He didn't write the song. Somebody else wrote the song, but he sang it. But to me, the song is not a racist song. The song is actually perfect. I like the song. You try that in a small town because it's like you try that in Buford, you're gonna get the same thing. A little bit different. The Gullah people gonna beat you behind. They might, they beat you behind and they'll probably give you a low country bowl afterwards. They might give you a low country bowl, some frogmore stew. After them, whoop your tail. We might invite you to church, but don't try that in a small town no more. So that's all I got to say. It was good. It was good. I laughed. I had a great time about it. But I think that was what we needed. We needed a good comedy laugh out of that. And to the brother who had that white chair, that was that was the monumental WWE thing. I'm not talking about him hitting the lady now. He did hit the other dude before he hit that lady. So I'm not condoning that. I think that was wrong when he hit that lady because the lady didn't have nothing to do with that. But the other dude, yeah, that was justified. People say like, "Oh, how can we condone violence to Christians?" Listen, when y'all ain't say nothing when y'all were talking about Jason Alden's song. That song, yeah, that song is if because it promotes violence too. Jason Alden's song says, "Try it in a small town." What do you think he's talking about? You come to a small town, you try that. I'm gonna blast your brains out, whatever. So it's you condoning it too. So you're contradicting yourselves if you're trying to say that why we're gloating about that. You gloated about Jason Alden's song. You gloated about Jason Alden's song. Try it in a small town, then you gloat in violence too. So you are part of the problem too. So you know better when you point that finger, you better take them three fingers and that thumb that's pointing right back at you in your face like this, and realize that you talking about God is trying to tell you you talking about yourself. But God was pleased. He was pleased that day. Yes, Demetrius. He says the only part I found funny was when he threw the hat in the air. Listen, just to give you a play-by-play, that was the bat signal. That was the black bat signal. And when dude took that hat, or that co-captain took that hat, and he tossed it in the air, I don't know if that was the code word in Montgomery, but every single Negro that was there knew exactly what he was talking about. That hat was just like whose song was that? I think it was Young Jock. Meet me at the meet me at the barge. It's going down. Meet me at the riverboat. It's going down. So when he tossed that up, everybody who was there knew about it. They knew. And the thing about the video that I have all the videos, so I was watching it because the riverboat they had a PA system. So the captain had like a live band that was on there, and the band member, the singer, the lead singer of the band was on the mic telling them that they need to move their vessel. This is going on 45 minutes. So nobody was claiming the boat. Still to the co-captain got on a smaller boat, went over there to go unloosen, and he tried to find whoever owned that boat that was in the same place that the riverboat needed to dock at. So he untied the string and he started pushing the boat forward so that the riverboat can actually move back in front of the channel in. And that's when we saw what we saw, and he tossed that hat out. Now, what you didn't see was the young 16-year-old who was on the riverboat jumps off the riverboat and starts swimming, and you saw him coming up to the little dock, and then he got his two licks. But it was the dude in the purple shirt who came down like the Flash. He saw what was happening when he tossed that hand up. Dude was already on the second level of the stairway, whatever, going down, and then he came down and he tried to break it up, and then he had him going not melee. Then the young 16-year-old that was swimming came over and he got some two piece in, and then the funniest part was when the riverboat. The funniest part about this was when the riverboat was finally docking. It was still trying to dock. It was close to the boat ramp, and them Negroes, them brothers came off the boat. The boat hasn't even turned off yet. They came off the boat, took the shirts off, and when you see brothers skipping, if you see a brother skipping towards you, it is that code word should have been run. You better run because they about to throw down. If you ever see somebody take the shirt off and they skipping towards you, they about to throw hands up on you. And they didn't get the code because like they were already most of them were on the boat. So all they had to do was just turn the boat on and just move out. And they wouldn't have gotten it. So the dude was shaking the boat and shaking their little railing for them. And then they got out the boat and that's when they started beating them behind some more. So it was like, and then the ladies got involved, the aunties got involved. I mean, everybody was getting a little two piece and caught up in the melee. So, but people on the boat were already trying to get on the mic and telling them to move the boat, all this stuff. So all that stuff got escalated. But at the end of the day, people learn. They learn. So but I had to share that because it was like that was like my comedy for the whole week. I never laughed so much. And in the and just like in traditional fashion, when it comes to us black people, we are innovators of anything. The amount of t-shirt businesses that went into effect of producing the infamous chair now and the t-shirt designs and the creativity just goes to show you how we are just innovators of creativity instantly and the memes and the videos. Somebody did a good times theme song with oh my goodness, it just keeps pouring out and I just never laughed so much. um so like I said, you know, we didn't yeah, it's the comedy of the year. This will be infamous, go down in history. I'm waiting for a Tubi movie video off of this. Either Tubi does a movie, Lifetime, may possibly BET. Somebody needs to do a movie on this, and we will call it instead of being called the Titanic, we will call it the Harriet of Montgomery. Oh, but Friday, I'm working on something for Friday for the Montgomery. Working on a playlist of songs. All right. So I've already had my devious songs from the secular side, which I'm not going to play on the radio, but I've already got my list of all the secular songs that you can use as a theme code word song for when it's time to throw down, like um, Bone Crusher. You can use Little Scrappy, of course, the infamous Nuck If You Buck from Cry Mob. Um, Heck, I'm even throwing in Pastor Troy ain't no playing GA, but even though it was in, in Alabama, but I'm throwing that song in. But I mean, there was so many songs I can go with, man. Pastor Troy in the city. I'm throwing in Goody Mob. They don't dance no more. Oh man, all the songs, man. Every Little John Eastside Boy, 3 6 Mafia. Oh man, Ti. Oh, that's all the secular people, man. This is all the Dirty South down crunk songs. B.I.B.I. I mean, all them songs you can use that as your motivational songs for that whole thing. But I got a list of the gospel and Christian hip hop songs that I'm working on that we can use for retaliation. Also, I gave you one earlier, which was Marvin Sapp, but I got some few, but I'll talk about it on Friday. We're just gonna have a fun time doing it. It's like I said, we ain't trying to advocate for violence on this, but these are retaliation songs you can use when it's time to cut some tail and beat some tail up. And I pray that this is a wake up call because of what has happened. On a serious note, we always talk about what happened with the Tulsa, Oklahoma race war. that happened in Black Wall Street in Tulsa. We talk about all the massacres like the Orangeburg massacre in Orangeburg at South Carolina State. Um, a lot of like Rosewood and anything that's happened, like the ones that happened in Detroit in I think it was the late '80s, in the city of Detroit when they bombed the police and everybody when they killed almost 100 plus black people in the community. So all these things, and with all those things that happened, even I had to learn this. The reason why those massacres were able to happen is because as black people, we didn't arm ourselves. So we always came into things with peace and respect, right? But if you had this, if the residents were armed in Tulsa, the outcome would probably be a little bit more different. Um, things that happened in Forsyth, Georgia, where they flooded the whole town. Now that was a different story now, because when you flood a community, there's nothing you can do about that. But a lot of those things that's happened over the decades where black people were lynched and mobs came into the town and killed almost everybody and blacks were fleeing is because we never learned how to arm ourselves except for the Black Panther Party. Yes, you are correct, Ms. Mary. But the Black Panther Party, which has always now been deemed as the most terroristic group, they will put the Black Panther Party higher over than Al Qaeda and and all those other terrorist groups. But when you look at it, um, we have to learn how to arm ourselves also. And it's not about race pride. It's not about being better than anybody else. You just have to learn how to arm and tool yourselves. So you know what I'm talking about. Even on myself, I'm getting to that level too of getting equipped. And it's not about a race war. It's not about this is about like protecting, just exercising all of our amendments, Second Amendment, everything. So we have the right to bear arms just as much as anybody else, and you got to be prepared. Get your weapons training on. Do professional, everything professional. Get everything done. Weapons permit if you need to. Make sure it's legal. Everything and financially, financially, we have to be able to take care of ourselves also. It's not about being better than anybody else. I do not advocate for anybody talking bad about another race of people or calling people racist and all this other stuff. You just have to learn how to be smart. You have to learn how to be smart. And if you experience a racial situation where somebody is being that way towards you, stop calling those people who are like that. Stop calling them racist because racist is not the word that you need to use anymore. That just it's immune to those who mistreat us like that. Just call them the bad ones. They're one of the bad ones. If there's one thing that you can make somebody mad and upset about is when you tell them you're one of the bad ones. Think about it. I remember how many years I've been. It's when I was in the military. I've been told that. I was told that in grade school by a lot of people who don't look like me, and they would tell me, "Oh, you're one of the good ones." One time I went to a church and I was invited to a predominantly white church, and they when I introduced myself and talked to them and those who were in charge, and they were like, "Wow, you're so articulate. You really speak really good words, and you know how to say big words and stuff, and you're one of the good ones." And I never understood what they were talking to me about that because, like I said, I had to ask my dad. My dad told me, he said what they mean is that you're one of the good ones, that being a good one means that you're not ghetto, you're not hood. They can bring you around, but you're going to become what's called the black token. And so the more I thought about that, I was like, yeah, that's always been called. I was one of the good ones. So how do you reverse psychology somebody who thinks on that level when they believe that they are superior to you? You don't say that. You don't call them a racist. Stop calling them racist because that word is like not even kryptonite to them. It's like they're immune to it. It's like pepper spraying somebody and the pepper spray is not effective on their face. So you got to use your words more powerful. So you just have to call them. You're one of the bad ones. Boy, they will get mad with you real quick. So y'all use that. Use that. If you ever encounter somebody who is racially profiling you or prejudiced towards you, just don't call them racist. Just call them, hey, you're one of the bad ones. And they're gonna look at you like, "What? What are you talking about? Yeah, you're one of the bad ones. Yeah, you're dangerous." They don't like that. But you're being more intellectually smart about your tactics. Um, so don't engage like in a way where you have to argue with them. Don't argue with somebody and make them get down to make them get down to their level. You have to be very smart. But the most important thing is treat everybody with respect, no matter who they are. So I love everybody. I don't have no person I hate. I don't have nobody that I have a grudge with. So I've been raised enough to know how to treat everybody with respect, how to love everybody. I have no ill will or anything like that, no hidden agenda, but I will educate you. So don't let them think that this whole thing with CRT and all these other things are going to, like right now they're trying to get us away from, Mary says, and we have to support each other. Stop saying we are talking white. We are speaking the English language. Yes, you are. We are all speaking English. All right. We're not talking white. I've been told that many times too. You know, I've been told that, hey, you don't speak like, you don't speak like how we speak. You speak like you're white. And I'm like, well, I don't know what white was. I just knew that everybody that I went to school with it was a predominantly white school, but just learn how to adapt. I can adapt to anybody. I could talk ghetto and everything like that, whatever. I can talk like I'm redneck. I can talk like I'm, southerner. I can talk like I'm up north, whatever you want me to talk. But me, I just learn how to just adapt and engage with people. And I like to listen to everybody else's history, their culture. It doesn't matter who you are. Like people I've met, the Marines I met that came from New York, New Jersey, West Virginia, Vermont, Connecticut. I've learned their life. I just learned about them. I learned about their history, their culture, and it was just rewarding to me when you can meet somebody and they'll tell you about grew up in Missouri and they were out there and they were just they grew up in an environment where they fish, they hunt. That's right. My dad had me Anthony. Anthony says same here. I was taught how to pronounce words properly by my parents in the hood. And my dad, I never grew up in the hood, but I grew up in like the nice neighborhoods, cul-de-sacs, base housing. And my dad made me go and read the dictionary. Like I would have to pick out words and learn the definition of words in the dictionary. That always had me learning other words beyond what you'll learn. And then, of course, the great movies back in the day, like Lean on Me. My favorite word was expeditiously, which means move fast. Um, another favorite movie I love, which made me love math, was Stand and Deliver. Yeah, that was like those are historic movies that I've watched. Stand and Deliver, Lean on Me, uh, and there were some other ones that I watched also. That taught us a lot. It taught us um, God, man, I forgot the other one that Sean Connery was teaching this young black kid about. It was like English and like language arts and stuff like that. I forgot what the name of it was called, um, but if you know the movie where Sean Connery was in, that was a great movie I watched back in the day too. That was an educational movie. So, but yeah, that's so like I said, um, in order for us to learn how to grow, we got to learn how to learn from each other. Regardless of how people might feel, and put aside the politics, please, y'all. Put aside the politics. I work in elections and I don't even get involved with the politics of elections. I don't let a political party affiliation or um, elected officials based upon their parties, their sororities, fraternities, their organizations they're part of, or whatever business. I don't let that determine me. I vote people on policy, what your policy is. I don't care about whether or not you are in the democratic process or you're a Republican or a conservative. What I care about is your policy. What is it going to benefit me financially, and my family? Right now we're putting the wrong people in office. You're voting the wrong people in office. You don't see what they're doing at the school board level now. They're stripping away our young people's education where they can't even learn about the true history of what America has really been founded on. But that's okay because you can block all that stuff. You can say this stuff is part of CRT. But my boys are going to be educated. My boys, my black sons are going to be educated on the real history. They're going to learn the Gullah history. They're going to learn every single detail. And if they just have to wing it in school and college until they become the adults, they're going to know the truth. My boys will know the truth because I believe charity and education begins at home. And I need to be the one that teaches my boys about racism and about how to treat others with respect, how to have manners, how to never look at somebody based upon the color of their skin as inferior, as weak, or as a demonic threat. I'm gonna teach my boys about what the real world is going to deliver to them. When they're gonna have to learn about how you're not gonna be accepted by a job because people are gonna look at your name or they're gonna look at the color of your skin. This is why I had to strategically name. I was named. My name was Vernon. My parents named me that so we didn't have to have a hard time getting a job. That we didn't have to have a hard time getting profiled by names that even those we had to take on those type of names. Vernon is a European name. All of our last names in the Black community is named after a European descendant, whether they were Scottish, they were Irish, they were they could have been from Finland. They could have been from some European country. You could have been Danish. It doesn't matter. But if you trace back to your last name was given because of what slavery has done. Contrary to belief, everybody wants to use this excuse that slavery was that more black people own slaves. That is the most asinine excuse that I've ever heard people use to this day. Because if that was the case, then our last names would be freaking last names. So all of our last names are coming from the descendants of European slave owners. You took on the last name of Washington because your slave owner was Washington. He was a Washington. Um, you know, all that stuff. Oh, your people sold you over here. That's bullcrap. There was Europeans were. That's the one thing about history. When you learn true history, you learn that the Europeans have always been covering up their mistakes. They were Neanderthal people at the time. They didn't bathe a lot. That's why they don't know about washcloths to this day. They don't know how to use a washcloth because they never bathed that much. They were nasty. They brought all these diseases during that time to all these other countries and stuff. But all that to say, they had the control, they had the money, the wealth, and the power. So with that, you're able to eradicate your barbaric behaviors and your barbaric history because you have the power to rewrite history by getting people to erase it and brainwashing people to believe that it was somebody else that has control over than your own counterparts, the British and the Roman Empire. So you had to learn these things. Uh, Oh, see, yeah, Mary, you know about that Hidden Colors. Yeah, you gotta watch the Hidden Colors. So my last name is I think it's oh man, I forgot because Kemp. Kemp comes from uh I think it's Irish in UK or German. I think I gotta look it up, but it comes from those descendants. So um yeah. But that doesn't define me as being like that. That's where my history ends at. My history goes beyond that. Our history goes back to Adam and Eve. It goes back to when God created us. But other than that, I gotta go, y'all, too, myself. I gotta go to Anthony. But I'm glad y'all watching, enjoying it. This is just a little bit, just a little talk today. I gave some talk to the DJs. Last but not least, for artists, y'all just continue to keep doing your music, but promote your music. Continue to promote your music, and don't get discouraged if a lot of people are not playing your music yet. You just gotta keep marketing yourself. There's too much distractions out there. So you gotta stick out like a sore thumb. You can't just expect everybody's gonna know what you got because you're releasing a gospel song or a Christian rap song. You have to market yourself. You have to stick out like a sore thumb. You can't be lazy. You can't just be giving up and just saying, "Oh well, here it is do what you want with it." That's not going to work. It's not going to work that way. You have to market yourself really well. You have to go out there and be a people person. You got to be a go getter. You have to be the best salesperson that you've ever been in your life. This is your music, your craft. Your song is your baby. You have to let the world know what you have. But if you sit on your tail and thinking that all I have to do is just put it out there on Spotify and Apple Music and all these other things, nobody's not going to discover you until God determines that they will be discovering you. There's a lot of artists who have done music since 2015 that I'm finally figuring out their music because they finally decided to do what's called a reel, right? And now I'm finding all the music because they did a TikTok reel, an Instagram reel, or on YouTube. And their music has been out since 2015. So now that they have the tools, you got to do the same thing. You got to go out to the communities. You got to go out and show your face. You have to talk to people, physically talk to people. Don't sit on your tail thinking that everything is going to come to you if you just put it out there on social media. There's too many distractions on social media. You know, there was what? There was three movies that got released. Barbie's movie got released. Then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie got released. There was another movie that got released. Do you know that the only movie that people are paying attention to is Barbie, and Barbie has already reached the $1 billion in earning movie, kind matching up with the Avengers series and a lot of the movies like the Wakanda, Black Panther, the Marvel movies that reached the $1 billion status. That's a Barbie live action movie. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it just came out, but it's still, it's kind of building itself, but it's not grossing the way it's supposed to. That's for the kids. That's because you got to plan you when you're marketing your song, time it right, figure out who else is releasing stuff, and what other distractions are going to happen. But you have to stick out like a sore thumb. So if you don't stick out like a sore thumb, nobody's going to pay attention to you until it's too late, maybe later on in the game. That's why I say Christian hip hop right now and gospel music, y'all releasing new music, and y'all be like, man, I got a new song. All y'all gonna drop songs this Friday. I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna keep it real with you as your uncle. Your song won't get no notoriety until 2 years from now, unless you are heavily marketing the song and you're building relationships with the people who know what you got going on. Larry E. Rogers Jr. is doing a good thing like that. He is building relationships. And if you build relationships like that, then people will get your music out there. But if you sitting around waiting on Spotify and Apple Music to do all the work for you, like they're your manager, all I'm gonna say is you may be number one on iTunes, but you definitely ain't number one on anybody else's list. And it's not bad. It just means that you got a lot of work to do. So that's it. Relationships marketing. Yeah. Yep. All right. God bless you, y'all. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys on Friday night, live at 6 p.m. God bless you.